The UN right now only provides their climate information, all their information actually, in 6 languages, and that accounts for less than half of the world's population. And the UN puts out some of the most relevant, timely documents on climate change, documents that I really believe need to be translated and accessible to as many people as possible. Hi, my name is Sophia, and I am a 19-year-old climate activist. I am the founder of Climate Cardinals, and I'm also the youngest member on the United Nations Youth Advisory Group on Climate Change. Climate Cardinals is the nonprofit that I founded, and it is now an international nonprofit with volunteers in over 41 countries. And really our mission is to make climate education more accessible to non-English speakers. So I started Climate Cardinals because of my personal experience going to Iran, which is my parents' home country. And while I was there, I really noticed my relatives knew nothing about climate change, despite the fact that climate change is disproportionately affecting the Middle East and temperatures there are rising more than twice the global average. And so I decided to translate climate information to teach them because I realized there was very little information available in Farsi, which is their native language. And then when I was working with climate movements like Fridays for Future and Extinction Rebellion, I noticed that these organizations really weren't targeting this issue of language inaccessibility. I saw we had all these beautiful graphics, we had all this information, but all of it was only available in English, and I thought that was a shame. And so I wanted to work within, and I tried to get these organizations to implement translation initiatives, but I really realized that Climate Cardinals needed to be its own organization because of what a beast it is to tackle this issue. It's so important to be translating climate information so that the people who are being worst affected by climate change have information so that they can learn about what's happening to them and they can learn about how we can combat this issue. In a few short years, we've grown to over 8,000 volunteers from when I first started just begging my friends to translate climate information for me. Most recently, we partnered with the UN Environmental Program and we translated their Youth for Nature manifesto into dozens of languages. We were able to enable it as the most widely distributed petition on planetary health because of how accessible it was through all these different translations. Everyone deserves access to basic climate education. And then we also are establishing chapter systems in these different countries so that the young people can actually translate climate information that's relevant to their communities the same way that I was translating information to Farsi. My personal goal within the climate movement is championing climate education, just because I know that we have these amazing climate scientists who are doing this work to make sure that we're moving the needle forward on climate change. And so I feel like I'm best positioned to make sure that the public is actually understanding this information. When I was in 6th grade, I remember learning about climate change, and I was honestly shocked that more people weren't talking about it. And these people who were supposed to be, the adult figures in my life I looked up to for information, for accuracy about everything, they didn't even know what I was talking about. And so it really made me realize that I could be the youngest person in the room, and yet I can be more informed on these issues than others. So when I realized that, I felt like it was my responsibility to advocate for climate change, knowing that climate change is affecting my generation. The prior generations really just haven't made it a priority. 2 years ago, I was here, and it was one of my first times going to a protest with lots of people. I was invited to partake in the Extinction Rebellion hunger strike because they wanted a young person to be there and they wanted to make sure that young people's voices were included.
Every single member of Congress must herald the Green New Deal as a pragmatic and essential policy.
And I really wasn't expecting much. And then there are all these journalists everywhere. And I remember one of the journalists was asking me, why are you guys doing a hunger strike? And I just kind of turned to him and I said, would you be here if we weren't doing a hunger strike? And he kind of paused and he was like, and I was like, yeah, exactly.
I don't think you would be.
It was an amazing moment for me. I ended up basically going viral. I had so many people contact me. It really was a catalyst for me starting Climate Cardinals because I was able to connect with so many people.
I had no idea that I would be in this position with a like full-fledged nonprofit and working for the United Nations. And so I think that it's important for me to continue to do the work that I'm doing. And as long as I remain true to who I am, continue to want to have a mission to make the world a better place, I think that the work that I'm doing is valuable, and it will continue to be valuable whether I'm in office, whether I'm like a policymaker, no matter what job I go into.